Prelude. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I bless you for making this time in your schedule in the afternoon to be in a sacred space with us here. I'm Maya Brennenberger, and Jason Ambosta, one of our musicians, is with me here to record this service this morning. He will sing now for us the Creed of the Heart.
Our God is love, our race is human, our religion is oneness. That's the creed of the heart. Our God is love, our race is human, our religion is oneness. Amen.
And so I will call in spirit now, as we do on Sunday morning. We are now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. In thy divine wisdom, now erase our mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Amen.
So, wherever, in whatever way you can, I invite you now. I'm going to read the daily word as part of our entering into this time of meditation. And again, it's striking how these daily words are written, edited, and published 2-3 months ago, and yet they seem to be so appropriate and perfect for this morning. The daily word for today is I take dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. And the power of God protects me. Today I hear with renewed understanding these lines from James Dillard Freeman, the prayer for protection. In a growing awareness of oneness with my source, I realize that the power of God works through me and as me, rather than simply in me or for me. I embody divine power by choosing words that affirm the truth that I am a spiritual being as I navigate the valleys and peaks of my human experience. By expressing my power, I am claiming dominion over my words and thoughts. I affirm statements of truth by releasing negative thoughts and ideas. I think and speak with the authority of my Christ presence. And this is from 2 Timothy. For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. So this is the daily word for today. And we are now preparing for our meditation time. I invite you to sit back, sit up straight, put your feet on the ground. And for this time, if you can, turn off any external devices like television and iPhones. And come to your breath. That magic that the breath brings into our everyday life. The inhalation and the exhalation, and the pause between the two. Take your next inhalation, and before you exhale, take a pause. Count to 2, or 3, or 4, then exhale. And then flowing into your next inhalation, and then hold, pause, and then exhale. There's a space between the inhalation and the exhalation. To feel that pause, to expand that pause. And I want us to come into a statement that recently has meant a lot to me in relationship to this ministry. It's from way back in the Old Testament where Moses, he's a shepherd, he's tending to the flocks of his father-in-law. He's coming to this mountain to talk to God. A simple shepherd. Out in nature, and God speaks to him. The famous words, take off your shoes, take off your sandals. You stand on holy ground. This is holy ground. So right there where you are, be that you're sitting at the desk, or in a chair in the living room, or in your wherever. This is holy ground. For you're coming into this conversation with your spirit, with your higher self, with your soul, whatever you want to call it. And you're coming in this collective, in this virtual collective community. We know that there is no space and time in this dimension of spirit. Where you are, where I am, spirit is as mighty as if we would be here in person. And therefore, right now, you are standing and sitting on holy ground. All that which you hold in your most innermost heart, in your most innermost soul self, you are safe to bring to this moment, to bring it into the conversation of what is going on the outside, with that which is longing to evolve, longing to come forth, longing to be heard from your inside. Your secret space. That's where you're holding some things that you haven't shared with anybody, or you haven't shared for a long time. You are on holy ground. You are welcome to bring into the conversation that which is there inside of you, in your heart, with that which is going on in your world right now. Take off your shoes. Shake loose your preoccupations. Turn off the sound bites on the outside. The distraction that fill our days. That's called shaking off the dust and taking off your shoes. Father, Mother God, in all humility we come, we bow. We acknowledge that you are there as much as you're here. You are within and among us. And all our loved ones, all the ones who have asked for prayers come to mind now. We simply include them. We just let our mind, our consciousness, our perception extend to include the capacity for compassion, to include the world leaders, the compassion to include those that we usually do not think of to pray for. The global, the collective, embrace in this outpouring of compassion. And yes, you might say, I'm just so insignificant, but you are a link in a larger pattern. And you're standing strong, embodying that link of growing compassion, a kind of compassion that is needed now. And so we are grateful that we can pray together. That you are there as much as you are here. That this is the true spirit of unity. I am grateful. Amen. We're going to sing, or Jason is going to sing, Namaste.
Namaste, Namaste. My heart sings
Namaste.
the Christ in me, the Christ in you. Namaste, 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 Namaste.
My heart sings.
Namaste,
The Christ in me, with the Christ in you. Namaste. 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 So silently, but with our eyes and our heart open, we greet one another in our lives that are maybe with us in our living room. And I'm greeting Jason. Namaste. Well, I miss you. I miss your eyes and your bodies here. And because I realized that I was hearing that thought this morning. As you know, I have a foundation where we are supporting young, highly talented musicians. And so I listen when words come up or messages or reports come up. And this morning there was this conductor being interviewed from the Metropolitan Orchestra. And he said, and they're asking him, how this, because they were giving their last concert that they had rehearsed to give Beethoven's Fifth and Sixth. And now there was nobody in the audience. They decided to give the concert and to let it be streamed, live streamed. And so the interviewer asked the conductor, what was it like? He said it was an experience for us, because he said musicians are communicators. They want to be in conversation with the audience. Musicians are communicators, first and foremost. So they sing or perform, and then they get the energy from the audience. And the same, I believe, is with ministers and churches and pastors. More and more, the talk is not the talk. The talk is a conversation with individuals among you that engage with me. So about 3 weeks ago, I said, how would you like to have a more simple life? And I got several of you saying, yeah, that would be very, very interesting. And I said, okay, let me talk about a simple journey, a simple life. And within those 3 weeks, everything you could say has started to fall apart in what we would consider our regular routines. That which was your life, your routine of the day, has been confronted with changes. The economy is confronted with massive changes. And so my talk this morning is falling apart, but also falling together. Falling apart, but also falling together. The antidote to this virus. The antidote to this virus is a brand new understanding of individual and collective and global compassion. It's a kind of compassion we cannot really put into words yet. There's so many issues that impinge on that thought, oh, I'm to grow more compassion. Well, I'm already compassionate. But that's not what I'm talking about. There is something larger that needs to emerge, that allows us to make decisions that are compassionate. So, falling apart but falling together, meaning we are starting to reach across space and time. I don't know how many of you have started to make more phone calls, have reached out, have had more phone calls. I discovered this week an app called Zoom. Didn't know about it really. And we had our first study group on Zoom on Tuesday night. Then I had a couple of conferences, one with Unity Canada, 28 ministries on Zoom. And later on in the week, I joined the discussion group of Jungian therapists discussing on Zoom. It's not right away easy. It's something we have to grow capacities for it. The youngsters are much better at that than some of us older folks. But this is what's happening. We are creating connections between ourselves and others across time. For me, that means being on the phone with Switzerland, being on the phone with California, being on the phone with Hong Kong, being on the phone, that's my nephew, being on the phone with Singapore. So there are nerve endings that are woken up. I'm thinking about the brain science that is being applied here. We are starting to make connections that we would not have made if we would have stayed in our familiar comfort zone. I always, when I look for understanding, psychological understanding, I go to Carl Jung, who is my theoretical model for my understanding of how psychology and unity, how do they resonate with one another? And they always did. It was a long time ago when I came from Switzerland and I found unity, and my first thing was, oh my God, my Jungian framework fits here. It fits here. So let me say something about this shared journey we are on globally. Something, and here you could think that it's unity talking. Wholeness is a combination of I and you, parts of a transcendent unity. Hence, wholeness is the result of an intrapsychic process which depends essentially on the relation of one individual to another. Our race develops its human qualities in essence only from face to face, from heart to heart, from spirit to spirit. That sounds very, very much like unity. But now we have this added lesson, and that is the journey into the unknown. I was asking 2 people this morning about a timeline. Nobody can give us a timeline about this. curve or the virus or how this is going to play out and how the decisions are going to be made? Do I change my airplane ticket, which I did this morning, and to which time do I postpone it? It's all guesswork. And some of the smartest people in my world don't have an answer. So Jung had something that I want to bring here about walking this journey together into the unknown. How much unknown right now? And in this shows some of our psychological unique and peculiarities. I have people in my life who simply say, well, the darn thing is not important. You know, one way or the other, we always had viruses, we had always the flu, it will just, we're making too much out of it, and it's basically doing a lot of harm economically, and then there are other people who are actually thinking there is some kind of a underlying dark thing, Somebody has caused it for some reason. And then there are those who are, especially in my Swiss world, absolutely by the book. The government says this, this, and this, and they obey. By the book. Not ifs and buts, not, conspiracy theories or discussing about should I not, how much can I still go outside. That's not even a question to the Swiss, they just obey. It's their nature. So Jung had something to say about this walking into the unknown. What does it trigger in us when we are caught in a situation where we are faced with unknown development? He had a word for it. He called it misoneism, or misoneism. It's a word meaning unreasoning fear and hatred of anything new, an erecting of barriers to protect oneself from the shock of facing something new. It's actually a term. The fear, an unreasoning fear toward something profoundly new. So I want to talk about this unreasoning fear that we all have part in our psyche. One way or the other, it manifests. One way or the other, we are going to have, I believe we can repress it. We can also play over it with just filling up our lives with a lot of distractions. We can play over it with a lot of arguments, that this, that, and the other. But this morning, this afternoon, I want to talk about this idea of falling apart, but also falling together. We are pushed by pain in our lives. We have all known about that. And our AA friends who meet here during the week, they believe that we're going to be pushed by pain till we are absolutely at the end of our rope. And we are coming up against that, to the bottom of the barrel. And it's when that happens that there is a surrendering possible. That's the AA belief. And I believe that this is really the heart of what I want to talk about this morning, which is till that happens, till there's an acknowledgement that there is a lesson of humility in this misononism, this instinctive fear of the unknown is what the AA people say is an acknowledgement that I out of myself cannot do this. I out of myself, I have to surrender, they call it, to a higher power. They look at something that in unity we would say, we have been pulled one way. The lessons repeat themselves. We are pulled by pain over and over again till we get to that place where we say, I surrender, I acknowledge, I ask for help, whatever you want to call it. I want to change the dynamic to where I can start feeling the pull of a vision in my life. So let's apply it right now to this moment where so much is falling apart in terms of routines, familiarities, and then the fear on top of where is this taking me? Where is the danger? What do I do with this fear? The conversation between that fear and the vision that you want to pull you forward is that moment, I cannot do this by myself. I surrender to something higher. I'm willing to surrender, call it spirit, call it a conversation between what works in your life and what doesn't work in your life. It's the same thing, really. You've been given this life. This is your lessons. And you have probably a certain amount of things that don't work. Fixing them doesn't work. Coming to that middle road to where you're saying, I've been pulled by pain and I want to shift the energy to where I'm starting to feel a pull by a vision. We here in unity, we have a vision. This ministry was created by a woman who had a profound vision. She came from Scotland. She built this church. She had a vision, she got pulled by it. The vision brought her here, the vision built the church. This is holy ground, consecrated. So, coming to your own life, to your own situation right now, kindly acknowledge that fear abounds all over. There's more fear right now to go around than we need. You might say, well, I'm not afraid. But that instinct is in you. You've done something with it. Playing, manipulating with the fear is not the answer. The answer is to find that moment where there is a longing, a desire, a recognition, a teaching that says, at some point you want to be pulled by a vision about yourself, who you really are. And what this is all about, your being here on this planet. Take off your shoes. You are on holy ground. Is true also to where you are right now. You are on holy ground, but you have free will. You can stay by having turned away from this whole thing, being busy with all the things that don't work. Or you can take off your shoes and you can bend in humility and say, I want to enter into a relationship with that which is spirit, with that which is not some other person's spirit, not some collective spirit, your own spirit, your soul spirit, that which goes on when you lay down your body, when you give up your earthly experience, when this script that you have, for whatever reason that gave you the set of parents that you have, when that's, there is an ongoing consciousness, a much vaster awareness. And it's there that the compassion that we need now will grow, will be born. A compassion that really is beyond what we perceive right now. It's not doing good. It's not being nice. It's much larger than all that. And I don't want to put any words to what it is for you in your life. I don't want to explain it or define it. I just want to invite you for a moment right now with me to come back to the daily word. And now with what you just heard me talk about, let's take that affirmation again. I take dominion over my thoughts, words, and action. Out of myself, I cannot do that. I'm asking for Spirit through me to take dominion, to help me make this affirmation that carries me into this week. I take dominion over my thoughts, words, and action. God did not give us a spirit of cowardness, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. So let this all sink in while Jason Ambosta has agreed to sing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, oh no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, oh no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, oh no, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
you. Thank you. So we're coming to that part in our service where we bless our love offering and take a moment of acknowledging that whatever we are holding is manifestation of our talents and our work and our time. So I invite you to consider how you can bless us in these weeks. Write us a check, send it in. I guess it's the only way to go at the moment. We are considering some options where you can donate it through the internet, but at the moment I would just ask you to be generous with Unity and write a check, put it in an envelope and send it to the church. But where you are and where I am here, let's hold the thought of giving and bless it with divine love. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. The announcements, I have already started to say something about it, is we have an annual member meeting scheduled for April 5. If by then we can meet in person, that would be delightful. If not, we will have a Zoom conference where everybody is on and can interact with me and the board and ask questions. The focus of the meeting, of the annual membership meeting, is to have as many of you there, in person or on Zoom, and then have the annual financial report presented by Susan Gannon, our bookkeeper, and be available for any questions you might have. And second is the approval of the nominations to the board. I've been very blessed to have Wilma Alain willing to do the presentation of the 3 nominees who have come forward to be approved by you to the board. There'll be a short paragraph on each one of them. And then I will have the honor to do a circle of appreciation to the 3 people who are coming, whose terms are up, who are coming off the board. And that is going to be our circle of appreciation and gratitude for their services. So with this, I am hoping that I now know that I will learn more and better how to do this. I just realized I was talking to our sanctuary. I should have talked to you. I did not acknowledge the camera is actually in my little iPhone, where you can see me, look at you. So thank you for making this time and for all of your generosity and all of your good thoughts and all of your participation in these very unusual times. So we're going to hear the peace song again Jason will sing it for us. You can sing along wherever you are. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joy as well. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And I wish you a good and safe and joyful Sunday. Stay well, stay in touch.